Hi to you all, my name is François Parlant and today we are going to correct the exam you just had today. And what did you have to do for the exam? You had to create a very nice dashboard just like this one. And how to do that? Let's do it. So first thing first, you have to check the file that you receive. Here, how many rows? We have almost 6,000 rows. And the first column is a date, but is it a date? If you want to try to do some timelines at a moment in pivot tables, it's not gonna work unless you have that as a date. So first thing you're going to do is correct that and put that into date. If you don't do it, timeline's going to be a very big trouble. Then what I wanted you to do is just to make sure that you had that into a count of hours. So let's select that and do a right click and go into the format cell. And here, I don't think you have a format with hours, so maybe you have to create it. Let's try it. If we want to have 1,000 separator, you could have something like sharp space sharp 0. That would be if there is 1,000 hours, then you put something, otherwise nothing. A space for the thousands. Then if you have something, do it, otherwise do nothing. And when you have the 0, whatever you have, if you have 0 or between 0 and 1, you have to put the 0. So open the quotes, put an H, close the quotes, and then you see that you have the hours. It's done. Second thing you had to do here, same. We had to do something that above 10, you want to make it more visible. So above 10, you have that in red. Done. Okay, now you have to do something else. You have to do something with the age. Let's try that. It's very interesting. It had to do with artificial intelligence. You see that some employee information have been imported, but all in one cell. You want to have the age here. Of course, you know that if you type one information and that you do données flash fill, instant fill, here, it's going to fill it all. But then, what do you have to do when you work with artificial intelligence? You have two things to do. First, you have to check. And that's very important because I think that at some places, especially when the name of the person has a space, is in two parts, Excel didn't understand. So when you work with intelligent artificial, check and correct. You have to give more examples for Excel to find the right rule. Here, if just after you've done the instant field you correct it, you say, no, here I don't want the whole name, I just want 32, you can see that Excel is going to correct it everywhere. Now the artificial intelligence knows the rule. And the proof is that when you come here, there are only numbers. And you see, you won't have some NAs someplace later. Now, what we want is some age ranges. For example, we want to know that people who are 24 years old, they are in their 20s, so that we can group people by 20s, 30s, 40s, etc. Here, it's very interesting because you have to create yourself the right table. So what do you have first? Do you have the name of the range, 20s, 40s, etc., or do you have the numbers? Of course, you've done it many times, you have to start with the numbers and then the name of the range. So for example, let's start at 20 and you have the people who are in their 20s. Then you can do the 30s and I think we have something, I'm not even sure we have 40s, let's try it. We have the 40s, and I think it's enough. But anyway, the right thing, the great thing is that we can change that. If we see we have some NA, we can add some values before the 20 or after the 40s. Let's try it. Égal recherche V, VLOOKUP. What do you need? You need the age. The age is somewhere here. I've got the age, semicolon. I'm going to select the data that converts the numbers into names, semicolon. What I want is the second column, so let's have a 2. Then what do you want? Exact match or approximative max. Of course, it's approximative, so you have to put vrai. Now, let's try it. I've got some data. Yes, 29, it's in the 20s, 32 in the 30s. Do we have some NA somewhere? No, so we just need that, so that's great. Let's get on with the next one. The next question is about making one. If here we have something like Dublin or London and 0 in all other cases, of course 1 and 0 are great because it's easy to make a sum. That will count only the ones. Égal si, I have two conditions and it's one or the other, not both. So I'm going to say ou. Either that is equals to London, semicolon, or that is equal to Dublin. If I spell them right, it's perfect. Now, don't forget, you have to close the parenthesis of the ou. What happens if it's London or Dublin? I put a 1. In all the other cases, I put 0. And now you can close the if. Enter. Let's check them. You have some ones somewhere, I don't know, here. Oh, that's for London. It works. Now, we've done with everything that we could do with just this sheet. Now, we have to check some information that are on other parts of the workbook. We need to make some data come from the employee tab over there, and we need the employee ID to make that. Let's have another recherche V. If you take the employee ID here, this one, and you go on the employee sheet. Oh, I should have zoomed. Sorry, I forgot. Now you have the data. Great. Which column do you want? You need a semicolon. 1, 2, 3, 4, in which is the service. It's on the third. So you have to put a 3 over there. And now, do you want exact or false? That's the big question. Here, an employee ID, you don't want another one. You don't want the service from another one. So you want an exact match. So you're going to choose false. Enter. And you've got immediately in one go the service for each of the employee ID. Here is the formula. If you want some people to input some data here at the bottom of this table, maybe you want to make sure that they always write the same way all the information, the service. So we need to make sure there is no other possibility. There is only one valid way to put the data. I'm going to data, data validation, and here I'm going to choose list. Here you can put something like car renting. You can put some semicolon, travel. Oh, did I put a space? Not a good idea. Travel agency. I think there is a small a over there. And then semicolon, you have credit card. Here we are. And the other one was semicolon, no space, insurance. I'm going to delete this little space over there, and I think we're done. Here we have everywhere a little drop-down liste déroulante to make sure that nobody is going to spell that a different way. In Excel, as in any other job, you need to be efficient. Look, this is the same formula as here with just one difference. So copy and paste. The problem is that we have here something a bit different because there is the drop down. So I'm going to just copy that and paste it on the other side to make sure the drop down is not coming with us. So égal, I'm pasting it, so it's the service, but I want the seniority. In which column is the seniority? 1, 2, 3, 4. So the only difference between those two columns is the number of the column. So don't do everything again. Just put a 4 here and it's done. Now, it's again a VLOOKUP with vrai because we have a scale and we have gaps. So let's try and make it. Here there is a little trap. That's why it's, for me, I think, more difficult than the other one. Here you have the names first and the number after. Do you remember every time we did that, we did the other way around? We always use the number on the first column and the name on the second one, and it's very, very important. So here, let's start. Oh, do you remember? It must be in increasing order. So let's start at from 0. And do you have to take care about the end? Remember, don't use the end, just use the start. So it's going to work fine with that. From 0, it's the beginners. Okay. Now, when do you start with the others? Confirm start at 6, so don't bother about the end. 12 is the start for the advanced, here. And you have 18 for the expert. And after 24, everything is senior, however old you get. Here is the number, or you could say the start, and here is the name of the range. Now, let's have that into a table. Do you need that? No, you don't need anymore. Sorry, it's coming here. So you don't need that. Done. Put that into a table. Control L, done. And let's try our VLOOKUP. Seniority range. What do you need to have the seniority range? First, you need to have the seniority, because that's what's going to help you convert that into a name. Select your conversion table, semicolon. What do you want? It's the second column. And do you want true or false? Of course, what you want is true because there are gaps. And you've got the seniority range. Just to make sure you were okay with the VLOOKUP, you had the last one. You needed to take the city contract. Here it is, semicolon. You needed to go to countries and you had a table to make the conversion. Select the table, semicolon, to, and you had to choose faux because this is exact. And you had the country. Done for this one. Here is what you had to do. You had the picture to help you. So you want some charts over here. They all are about the hours because that's the only real number we have. And then you have some more figures here about the hours again. The number, the average, the max, and here I guess it's the sum. Let's try that in our order. We start from the big table we've been working for the first part, and we go to Insert, Tableau croisé dynamique. Okay, we have a pivot table. That's the dream of everyone. The first one I'm going to call KPI because I want my numbers. I think it's the easiest. Let's take the hours. I put the hours once, twice, thrice, 4 times if you want. Anyway, so you've got the hours. Now, the first one will give you the sum. The second one will give you what? The number. The next one will give you something like the average. And the last one will give you something like the max. Do you remember? We're going to put that over an image. So if we want to put some rectangles and have the rectangles updated, we can't go directly into pivot table. We need to have a little step in between, and that's how you put it. You put equals, 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 and equal. And that's what you're going to put into the right format. So for example, here, if we want some hours and we're gonna do the little formatting with it, remember what it is? It's the last one we did here. So that will be our hours. Then if you want this one with a 1000 separator, just get rid of that. Here, I guess it's too many decimals. Let's make that shorter a little bit. So I think that should be okay. Then you could put it into hours too. And then that's the max hours. Let's have it in hour 2 and we go into format cells and we take again the last one if we can. Here it's coming. Where is it? Oh, my mouse is lost. Now I've got that. And where is my hours? Here they are. Done. Now let's have our first chart. I'm going to duplicate that. I click, I do control, I move that, I release control. And this is going to be a pivot table. So let's call it pivot. And that's going to be by service, for example. I don't need that anymore. Great. In here, what do I need? I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. I need the sum. That's important. And I want the services. Of course, if you want to change the formatting of that, that's a good idea. You can do it by just changing the formatting, and it's always at the same place, so it's getting a bit boring. But here you've got the sum of hours. It's done. Now let's make a chart, because it's always good to have something visual. And you've got a first idea. What do you want? Something like etiquette, and it's done for this one. Let's duplicate that again. I click, control, move it, and I'm going to rename it because this time it will be by seniority. So the first thing that makes Excel crash is usually when you are here and you're moving things with a chart here. It's not a good idea, so I just delete it before I change everything. Let's get rid of that. Let's take that. Oh, seniority is too much. What we want is not the seniority. Thank God I deleted the chart, otherwise it would have crashed my Excel. Let's take the seniority range. Yes, a lot better. Fewer data, that's something that we can use on a chart. Insertion. And we're going to choose a little chart like this one. I usually like to make things a little smoother. No grid, no legend, no number on the side, and I don't want the buttons either. Let's undo the buttons, but what I would like is some data over there. I think it's okay. Okay, the next chart is just seconds away, so let's duplicate that, change that, and put it by something like country. Oh, there is a parenthesis over there. First thing, if I want to change something here, leaving that, I'm sure I'm going to break my Excel, so let's not do it. I'm going to take that away, take the country, and try and do a chart with that. It might be a big. I really hesitated, but let's try one. I'm going to make it bigger because otherwise I'm not going to be able to see the countries. And already you can't see very much, but let's try. I'm going to get rid of the legend, of the grids, of the buttons, and well, it's okay. We're going to work with that. Do you want the data over there? And it's done. So let's try and make our dashboard. First, we need a picture. I gave you one. Let's copy it and go back to dashboard, paste it, and we've got a background. Not the prettiest one, but it's okay. Now, what I want, I would like to have this chart. So let's copy it, or better, let's cut it so we know that we've already got it. So here I want to paste it somewhere. We are going to do exactly the same for the next one. I'm going to copy that or cut it even better, and I'm going to put it somewhere else. Okay, done. And now you want the last one. Let's cut it and let's paste it somewhere. Okay, now we've got 3 charts. It's already a good start. Now, what do you want? You would like to have the numbers because you like that. So you're going to insert something here. Let's have a shape. Well, actually, we're going to make something like 3 shapes, and maybe 4 actually. Let's have 4. Now, how do you make data come into this one? You just go into the formula bar, you type equal, you go back to your KPIs, and you choose a formula that you made. And you do that again and again and again until you have all your important data that you want on this dashboard. So I'm almost done. I'm going to do that. That's going to be enough. The first one, what am I going to do with that? I'm going to put it in the center over there. I'm going to make it nice, transparent so that we don't see it. So let's try just that. No filling here, and you can put some colors, no borders, and stuff like that. Then everything is going to move, but with what? With two things. You had to include, you'd click on a chart, you've got Analyze, and you can input a timeline. Of course, if you have done the dates in the first part, it's going to be fine. If you did it later, don't forget, you have first to actualize, refresh everything for the timeline to be active. Then you need something else. Click here, go to Analyze, and you're going to insert a slicer, segment en français, with here the values. And I think some of you wanted to have it horizontally. So I'm going to change in slicer options the number of columns so that I've got stuff this way. Now let's check. Do you think something moves when I click here or when I click here? No, not really, just one. So you have to connect that to everything. You right click on the timeline and you're going to connexion de rapport. In your version, it's not yet connexion de rapport, it's signaler les connexions. Click on it and you can check all the pivot tables that you have. Now this is connected to everywhere. You can do exactly the same on this one. Right click, signaler les connexions or connexion de rapport in the new versions. Tick everything and it's going to apply to everything. Before we do the decoration, I would like to do something else. We had here a small little percent in the to-do. I don't think, yes, you have it here. But what is this percentage? We need to make that work. Let's go back into the KPI, for example. Here, I've got the number of hours, but for what I have filtered, depending on the timeline, let's check, it's only September 2018 and only for the people in their 20s. So I would like to compare that to the whole amount of hours. How to do that? That's a ratio. I need to have the sum of all the hours. And you know that there is a formula that doesn't move. That's the sum. Let's go back into the hours. Let's get at the top and let's select the column hours. This will be the total, and this is the part, the one I have filtered. If I want here to have a percentage, it's going to be equal the part divided by the whole, and that should be into percentage. Of course, it's 0, but let's check and move something else. For example, if you take some quarters over there, how much is that? Let's go back to our KPI. That's 4%. And you have to do a little square. For example, let's take this one, equals the percentage over there. And you can put it in transparency somewhere in there so that you can have something nice with a percentage. Now, I know you really enjoy to make things nice, so let's do it. You can do something like that. Right click, no filling. And I would say I would click here. Sorry, not this one. I would click on your chart and I would say contour, borders, no borders. I think it's better without the white stuff over there. Then of course you can select one of the value, you can put them bigger and of course maybe whiter because otherwise we are not going to be able to see them. And of course you're going to do the same here. White, white, white everywhere. So here will be white, that will be white. Oh, do you know what I'm clicking? I'm clicking Control Y, Control Y, because it redo exactly what I've just done. So now that we have some white everywhere, we can do no filling here and no filling here. Where is it? Here. No filling. And we've got some data. As you can see here, we've got some white, and the white on white is not really easy to read. So what I'm going to do is just to insert a shape here, but we can't see through. So what I'm going to do is going to format that, and I'm going to add some transparency. So of course you can change stuff. You can put that here. And you're going to put that behind the chart. So you have to put it behind a few times and until it's going to be behind. Yes, that's behind. You see, you start to see better the values here, and you can do the same everywhere. Making the timeline and the slicer look good is more tricky. If I click the timeline, you can go here in timeline. I'm going to put that here. You can't change the style. You have to right click and duplicate it. So give it a little name that you will remember. And here, what you can do is format it. So for example, I don't want any filling and I would like the color to be mostly white. Let's try that. Of course, the header, date here. If we put it white, usually we don't really see it, or it's black, we're going to change it. Oh yes, it was black. We're going to put it white, maybe a bit bold. It's a good idea. And then you can change everything if you want to see them. It's something that I don't really like, so I'm going to do it for just 2 or 3 stuff. Here, some levels need to be white, because if we let them gray, we will never see what's there. Okay, maybe another one. No, it's okay. I'm fed up with that. So let's click OK. What's happening? Nothing. Why? Because we are still on the old style. We haven't chosen the one we've just customized. Let's click it and we have something. So as you can see, we don't really see very well. I'm going to use the same trick as here. I'm going to put something maybe at the back of that. So do you remember? You click, you go reculer, and you're going to do that until that comes before it. And you can still change a few things so that it looks nice. And it's almost the same thing here. You have to duplicate one of the styles and you have to change it. The problem is that I don't know why, but you have to have a color at the back. This one, even if you click here, no colors, you have to have a color. So maybe we can choose something like this one, and you can do the filling and try something with it. Don't forget, you have to use the one that you've just customized and try to make something that looks a bit like that. Oh, if you wonder about those, just take a rectangle, put the name inside and move it here and put no filling, and you have some titles. Now, the last step was about macros, VBAs. So let's go into developer, let's click into macros and let's do modify. Here you've got some macros and you had some for each S, like for each sheet in this workbook sheets. Then if the name of the sheet is different from dashboard, you have to hide them, etc., etc. But you have next what? Next sheet. It's not sheet that you have, it's S here. So that's what we did in class the first time we saw each other. And here, what do you see? Massage box. Do you have a box for massaging? No, it's absolutely not how to spell it. MSG box would work better. Same thing here. Message box is message box, and it's not sheet, it's S. And now you should have something that works. Let's try it. I've got here my workbook over there. I would like to hide everything but the dashboard. I'm clicking here. I launch it and everything is hidden except my dashboard. And I've got a little word. It's done. So now it's over. I hope you enjoyed this class, that you have learned a few tricks and that you think that you will be able to impress someone in the professional field with your skills on Excel. See you again sometimes. Good luck. Bye bye.